With the emergence of the Omicron variant, some countries are rolling back easing measures they had taken earlier to open up the economy, such as reimposing mandatory quarantine upon arrival. We asked CEO of Galen Centre for Health and Social Policy, Azrul Khalid, whether Malaysia should adjust its approach in dealing with Omicron or hold off on tougher rules.
This is where the value of quarantine in this situation is less. And this is something that Singapore has also come around to accept, which is that quarantine only really works when there are people who are supporting and complying with the quarantine. And this is especially so when it comes to home quarantine. And when there is a pathogen which you are able to contain effectively. And the reality here is Omicron is a really tough variant of the COVID-19 coronavirus. And that is because there have been circumstances where people have been tested negative on RTK antigen tests initially, and then later they are found to be positive, meaning they were positive with the coronavirus variant of Omicron, even at the point in which they were tested earlier when they were found to be negative. And this is something that Omicron has been very effective in doing, which is evading. And this is something that scientists have also found, that the limits of quarantine are now being tested. The limits of quarantine as well as usability of quarantine is being tested by this Omicron variant. So it's coming to a slow realization now that when it comes to Omicron, quarantine may not be something of a tool that you can use to contain this disease.
He said even with strict measures, it is inevitable that Omicron would spread in communities and become dominant in the population. Therefore, he urged the public to take personal precautions and normalize seasonal vaccinations.
Our focus today, just as it is in Singapore, should not be on the number of positive cases, but on the number of people becoming seriously ill, hospitalized in the ICU, and deaths. So with vaccination, these cases have been remarkably reduced. And employers especially should be encouraged to implement regular testing for employees so that people know their own status and take steps to self-isolate or seek treatment accordingly. And this is very important because right now we always say that the government should do this, government should do that. But really, when we're talking about the future of the pandemic, it's really about what we do ourselves, what steps we take in order to protect ourselves, our family and loved ones and community. So with the Omicron variant, we now actually understand that 2 jabs are not going to be enough to provide sufficient protection and will require at least 3 jabs.